The round of 32 has started, and it started with just one match, South Africa versus Canada. And this was so amazing that we're going to spend the whole podcast but not really talking about this. This is Foot in Review. Welcome back, everyone, to Foot in Review, episode 28. We have started the round of 32, which, well, took me a couple of hours to realize that it's an extra round, but that's up to me. My name is John, and I'll be your host today, and I'm joined by none other than Mr. Nathan Downs, making his debut with me on this World Cup series. Welcome back, Nate.
Hey, John, thanks for having us back. It's been a while since we kicked off the early shows with Shaq, so this is I was going to say it's exciting to get into, but for anybody that watched the South Africa-Canada game last night, I'm not sure exciting's the word that comes to mind.
Yeah, we'll discuss that, but it's good to have you back, my friend. So in the next 25 minutes or so, we'll be discussing the South African match versus Canada, of course. Not played in Canada. We'll take a look into the matches that are up tonight. That's Brazil versus Japan, Germany versus Paraguay, and Netherlands versus Morocco. And I want to know what your highlights are for this World Cup so far. And of course, what's your biggest disappointment? But let's start with the match that played yesterday. Nathan, it was for me a very big difference watching 6 matches in a night to, hey, there's just one tonight.
Yeah, I kind of got withdrawals from all the games. It was quite nice to be able to go to sleep at a normal time, though. I very rarely made the 2-3 o'clock in the morning games UK time, but it was all right to be able to focus on the game. The game itself kind of made me want in another game of football to kind of wipe that memory from me. So yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I know normally we would summarize this match, but if I summarize it like this, let me know if I'm close. And there's no script here, so I might be totally wrong. But we had 2 teams that actually didn't want to lose. We had South Africa, who had the ball most of the game, and we had Canada that showed that they had a little bit better players and they were waiting for counters. If you remember the match, Austria versus, what was it again? I forgot. It's that bad, actually. The match that just had 20 minutes of people playing the ball around. This felt sort of similar, and so much so that this whole stadium were whistling and booing the goalkeeper from South Africa for just having the ball at this stage. It ended up 1 for Canada, but Nate, what can we say about this match? Am I that far off?
No, I mean, I kind of had similar in my head. I was going to sum it up by 2 teams that didn't want to lose, but Canada wanted to lose a little bit less and wanted to try and score. I mean, the game was pretty dire. I mean, I watched the game. I then went on and watched the highlights this morning, and it's quite telling when most of the highlights are South Africa kind of going into the Canada half, turning back, trying to recycle, but not really with any purpose. I think Canada had more intent throughout. Canada looks like, you know, when they got into the final third, they actually at least took a shot or tried to get into the box. Whereas I think South Africa kind of just looked like they were very well organised, to be fair. They were almost too rigid. They were too safe. They were a bit scared. It would have been interesting to see how Canada would have played if they'd actually done this in Canada, like they were kind of expecting to until the last game. But yeah, I just thought, overall, 2 fairly poor teams. Canada changed a little bit when Davies came on. I thought there was a little bit more oomph about them. Yeah, a little bit more attacking impotent. But I just think that South Africa showed that they were very limited, and they were playing for penalties, I think. I think they were trying to take their chances rather than Canada had a little bit more of the pressure, I think, because they do have the better players. Although it wasn't in Canada, they still obviously had quite a large following, and the neutrals clearly sided with Canada.
Yeah, they had no intent to actually press the goalkeeper. So they clearly had... South Africa was, I think, aiming for penalties or at least be stable in build-up, because there's room in behind from Canada defense. So what they did, they gave the goalkeeper the ball and just waited for them to come out. Except they never came out. So the goalkeeper just had the ball and just kept left, right, like that song you love, I know.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I can see where Canada would do that, because South Africa have a habit of trying to play out from the back, and we saw in their opening game where they tried to play out and their players aren't good enough to play out, so they played it to Sithole, who I always mistake his name for a swear word, which I'll not say on here, but they always try and play out, and then that's when you press. But South Africa mixed it up, and instead of trying to play out from the back, you'd see the keeper go long quite a lot. And to be fair, Canada dealt with that fairly comfortably. It was like the two game plans just cancelled each other out. There was very little excitement. There was a few moments in there which I'm sure will come on when we go to the disappointments and the moments. But yeah, I just thought it was one of these games that if it had never happened, I wouldn't have been really upset about. It wasn't a great opener for the round of 32. Sometimes you think, oh, that now we're in the knockouts, we're going to get gung-ho, teams are going to go for it. And this was very much safety first. And to be honest, it was on 8 o'clock. I was nearly asleep by 8:15 anyway. I thought it was pretty terrible. But yeah, it was. Let's hope it's a sign that there's better things to come.
Must be. And I get both teams in this situation. I mean, sometimes it just is what it is, right? I think if Canada would have played in Canada, they would have been more attacking. We got a more open match. I don't blame South Africa anything. And they had some chances as well, actually. In the end, I think this was a fair representation of this match. But you have to be a real football lover or a fan of one of those two teams to find this one a very interesting match. Because it's also, nothing changed tactically during the match. So they kept playing the same style all the way. And I was talking to a friend who were looking at this. I was like, if this game goes into extra time and penalties, I won't be able to make that. I will fall asleep. But we celebrated the goal, not because we're a fan of Canada or fan of South Africa, but just because we didn't get an extra 45 minutes added to it. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, to be fair, the winning goal came very late, but it was one of the very few moments of quality. I thought it was a really good strike from, 20 yards out. I thought the guy took it well. You could see how much it meant to them. So it's quite telling when you could probably count on one hand the amount of quality demonstrated by players in that game. And one of them came in the 92nd minute. With, like I say, it was a lovely dip in sort of volley. I mean, one of the things that I did notice through the game, I don't know, I mean, you're a goalkeeper, John, so you'll possibly pick this up, but the goalkeepers are having real struggles holding on to the ball. I know on the UK sort of coverage, Joe Hart's done a lot about how this ball moves, but every time there was a shot, the keepers looked like they were kind of almost scared of the ball. They were stiffening up. The ball was kind of, even ones that you thought were fairly straightforward saves, they were getting pushed straight back out. I thought that was one of the more interesting bits of the game, was just watching how the goalkeepers react. But I don't know whether that's just me being a bit tunnel vision, because I've obviously got the goalkeeping sort of side of things.
Well, it really stood out that the Canadian goalkeeper, which name I forgot, if I'm quite honest, often let go of the ball when they take the shot. I don't necessarily think it's the ball. I mean, we have one here. We've been training with the balls as well, right? I think if you hit this ball hard, it goes really fast. I think that's the difference. But not holding the ball, I think we've not seen Courtois make a mistake. And we've seen the other goalkeepers holding on to the balls as well. So I'm not sure if it's really a ball thing, or is it just like none of the goalkeepers want to take any risks, so they just go in with their fist clenched. Could that
possibly be it? Possibly. There was a few of them that I just thought, if you're a goalkeeper at the World Cup, these get held. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, you're right. When it gets hit, we've seen plenty of goals go past goalkeepers in this World Cup that you're thinking normally they would be there. It's almost like they either react too late at the balls on top of them. So that was quite good analysis from Joe Hart, I have to say. I know the Rangers fans in our contingent will probably be hating this because he's an ex-Celtic goalkeeper, but I mean, that shows what this game's like when we're talking about the actual football rather than the quality on the pitch.
No, I agree. I think it did stand out, but that goal they scored, was unsavable. And well, it's cool to have Canada go through, but it meant same for me to South Africa, to be quite honest. Just, I'm a big fan of jerseys. Yeah. I love the South African, like the bright yellow with green. It's just brilliant. But what Canada wore yesterday, those black outfits with a little bit of white in it, really cool as well. Just saying, it's not a bad World Cup for jerseys.
No, that was looking really good, and like again, it's another thing that we're like, what can we talk about the game? We'll go on to the jerseys.
Well, the jerseys. Well, we could say the stadium was full again. I said prior to the World Cup that I didn't think those tickets weren't going up for much. Right? We're going up for way too much. And I was like, this is not going to be sold out. But I think they've got like 99.8% of the tickets sold. So, yeah, apparently I was wrong. You can you can overprice these tickets and still get sold. So.
Yeah, although on our coverage, it did say there was plenty of empty seats around as well. So
yeah, but it was sold out,
quite
so I
big
don't know how
stadium.
that works.
No, I don't know. Unless they just gave them all to the sponsors, which there seems to be many of in this tournament.
That is definitely true. Nathan, let's dive into, because we only had one match. Who was your baller of the day? Who was your standout player?
So my bottler of the day is going to be controversial.
Baller. Let's go baller.
Oh, baller.
Yeah.
I thought you said
Let's
bottler
start
of
with
the day.
Good news first.
I mean, it's also very hard to pick out anybody from this game as a bit of a standout. I've got a soft spot for a player that was actually substituted, Buchanan. I do like Buchanan, but I think you've kind of got to give it to the goal scorer himself, Eustáquio. He takes the set pieces, but the volley, the sort of clutch moment, 92nd minute, we're all crying for somebody to score. Comes onto it, makes himself a bit of a hero. If they go out in the next round against either Netherlands or Morocco, like that moment, I think that moment would be one of those that the Canadians and to be fair, world football remember, because it was such a big moment for Canada, who up until this World Cup, I believe, have never got a point in the World Cup. Is that right? So
yeah, amazing.
I think that's probably got to go down as your baller, just for that one moment of quality.
Yeah, so I agree. What we could also say is, so I think Eustáquio, do I say it? Eustáquio? He gets the baller of the day, but it could also go to Alphonso Davies, because when he came in, Canada suddenly had a lot more energy, crowd went nuts, and you see what a difference one left back can make, actually.
Yeah, no, you're right. Even though he does play more advanced for Canada, I think he kind of came on left mid, didn't he?
Yeah.
Sort of drive them forward. But
they play
you're
a
right.
standard 4-4-2, by the way, which is also, as
lovely
an analyst,
to see.
Weird to see.
Lovely to see. Love a bit of 4-4-2. Get it to the wide men, punt it in the box, get a head on it. Come on, that's how football should be played.
Well, let's not go there, but it's different to see a flat 4-4-2 in a World Cup. Let's put it like this.
Yeah, no,
but I
that
think
was a
you're
good
right.
show.
He played left midfielder. Yes.
Yeah, and you're right. Somebody of that quality. He's obviously got a good pedigree, being at Bayern for so long. He's been struggling with injuries for the last season or so, hasn't he? So
yeah.
You can see it's one of these, though. It's quite frustrating because you can see why they would try and protect him, but also you're in the round of 32. If you're fit enough, you should be playing. So it'll be interesting to see how fit he actually is, because I wouldn't be wanting to be the Canadian manager and go out with even a 75% fit Fuzzy Davies not playing type thing. So there's big decisions to be made going forward now.
Definitely. All right, the bottler of the day, your favorite topic.
Definitely the bottler, yeah. So this one's going to be controversial, but I'm going to give it to the referee. There was a moment at the end of the first half where, in my opinion, there was a penalty that should have been given to Canada. He didn't give it. We've seen the referee in the Scotland-Brazil game give a foul for something similar. It's just, yeah, I don't know. For those of you that didn't see it, the Canadian boy was through, got closed down by two players. Tackle came in as he was shooting, so the player was swinging foot connected with the back of the defender. They said on the commentary anyway, it was because they got a touch on the ball, but when you watch the touch of the ball, it literally diverted at millimetres. It wasn't like he cleared the ball and then the guy kicked him. It was nudged it a little bit. I think it was a bottle, because if I'm a striker and my momentum is taking me to that, I'm swinging my foot for the shot, you can't just stick yourself in the way of that shot after I've already commenced the action. That's a foul in my eyes. So it'd be interesting to hear you. Well, apparently you can. I mean, but then I'm sort of contradicting myself, because I'm actually really enjoying the fact that the referees are given so much more go. I love the physical aspect of it, but I don't understand how that can't be a penalty when you're like, he wasn't there. You start your kicking action, you try and kick through. He then just sort of injects himself into the situation. You kick the back of him. Like, that's a foul. That's obstruction. Like, I don't know what you're.
The Brazil match when Vini Jr. did it, his second goal against Scotland, right?
Yeah.
Sorry to bring that up, but I am just to make sure everyone's aligned with me. I am drinking my coffee out of a Scotland mug today. So just a little bit of sympathy there, right? But at Brazil versus Scotland, Vini, when Henry missed it, Henry, he messed up and he gave the ball to Vini. When he shot, apparently this is the same situation, and Vinny's goal got disallowed for it. So it's the lack of, how do you say it? It's not the lack of the same consequences. I think that's what bothers me in this one. One match, it's penalty or free kick. Vinny's goals get disallowed. This time it's exactly the same, and there's nothing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So which one is it, right?
I mean, I would say that Vinny was. I've obviously living in Scotland, count myself as Scottish, even though I'm technically not. But I thought that was harsh on Vinny. I genuinely thought that should have been a goal. I think that Scotland, I mean, it's been touched on before, but Scotland's amateurish defending in that game would have cost them. I don't understand how it's not a foul. Like, if you do that, it's a foul. You can't just interject yourself in front of the player in their action. So it's impeding them, it's obstructing them. So, yeah, I think the referee kind of bottled that. But maybe it's a directive they've been given, who knows. But before this World Cup...
Well, be consequent with it then, right?
Yeah.
That's the main issue.
Before this World Cup, that would be 100 out of 100 would be a penalty. So it's just strange that it's changed.
Definitely. And what about the drama?
Well, the drama, we can't really get away from that last-minute goal. I think the fact that it meant so much, it was a match-winning goal, it was a little bit of quality from a game lacking severely in it. And obviously, any goal in injury time to send your team to the next round of the World Cup is massive drama. So we've got to go with that, I think.
100% agree. This time, we're more than halfway through the show, so it's time for a little hydration break. I'll be drinking coffee from the Scottish mug. And in the meanwhile, here's a little commercial break. Hydration break for you. Because if you're listening to this podcast and you want to support us, so go check out patreon.com/foodinreview. And of course, you can buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/foodinreview as well. And trust me, we need coffee. What we also need is 5-star reviews. Go to Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Drop us a 5-star review. It costs you about 5 to 10 seconds of your time, and it means the world to us. And of course, check out foodinreview.com for everything Food and Review. And that includes our socials at Food and Review on Instagram and at Food in Review Podcast on TikTok. And if you're saying, hey, it was a little bit quiet over the past 2 days, that is absolutely true because I forgot to do my duties there. But we'll be better, I promise. Back to our predictions for tonight's matches, Nate, because yesterday we had one match. Tonight we have 3 matches. And I want to know, not in too much detail, but I want to know who wins. And I want to know why you think that.
So 2 out of the 3 games I think are actually really hard to call. Brazil-Japan is the first one, 6 o'clock UK time. This could go either way. I think Brazil will do it, but at the same time, I had Japan to be dark horses. So this is one I'm going to get splinters on my backside and sit on the fence because I literally have no idea how this could go because they're 2 very good teams. Both of them have capabilities of upsetting the other. So I genuinely cannot call Brazil-Japan. If you had to say, like, gun to my head, I'd say Brazil just because it's World Cup Brazil and the Ancelotti factor. But, John, I don't know what you think about that one.
Honestly, I'm going to sit with that on the fence with you. It's going to be a 50-50 match. I'm going to say Japan because I'm very confident in the team and I have been critical at the Brazil performances so far. Wouldn't be fair for me to go the other way now. So I'll say Japan will go through. But I'm also saying this is going to be a firework of a match.
Yeah, absolutely. The next game, Germany against Paraguay at 9:30 UK time. This one has German win all over it, and I'd be expecting a fairly convincing German win. Paraguay got through on 4 points from one of the easier rounds, but they got absolutely battered by USA, although that was USA's first game in USA, so there could have been a lot to it. Second one, they snuck past Turkey 1-0, and the third game, they drew 0-0 with Australia, who Shaq, close your ears just now, but they're not a great side. So I think I can't see anything other than a fairly convincing Germany win.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be fairly convincing. I think the match against USA was an outlier. Normally, this Paraguay team hardly concedes any goals, which they've shown the next 2 matches as well. I do think Germany will get it, but it's going to be like a 1-0 match, I think.
Well, this will be interesting to revisit because I think it'll sort of be 3-0 or so. So
yeah, Germany will go through, but I don't think it's going to be like a walkover. It's going to be a football fight. We've seen Germany like not perform that well over the last 2 matches either, right? A 2-1 last-minute win and a draw, I think, as well. With a reserve squad, so there's nothing to be said. Oh, Germany goes through.
Well, they lost to Ecuador in the last one 2-1. They beat Ivory Coast 2-1, and they beat Curacao.
Yeah, so okay. I mean, Curacao, you can win 7-1, and they did. But the second match, they were really lucky to come back through, with Undav scoring twice. The third match, put in a reserve squad, had nothing to tell there. So you don't know how it works with the reserve squad in the last match. We'll be talking about Norway this week as well, who did exactly the same. They play tomorrow. I don't know if you can say, well, we're all rested, but you did get bad at the last match. I don't know how that goes mentally. It's going to be hard.
It's the fascinating sort of parts of this. The final game is one I'm sure is close to your heart, boss man. It's Netherlands versus Morocco, so it's 2:00 our time, so 3:00 your time. So yeah, you're gonna have to figure out whether you're gonna power through having that first. Again, like I know you'll be saying Holland. I think this is another one that's incredibly difficult to predict. I probably would go on form of the Netherlands. I think Morocco were outstanding against Brazil in the first game. The Scotland-Morocco game was pretty dire, in all honesty. Morocco scored in the first 30 seconds or whatever it was. Had a few chances, but at the same time, I wasn't blown away by them. But Morocco are a very good team. They're quite organised, hard to beat. They've got some very good individuals. Again, I can't really predict this. I personally would love to see Morocco go through, and that is for one reason only, John, and that is because your flipping dance song is stuck in my head 24/7. I'm constantly going left and going right, dancing around corridors and everything else. So the sooner they're out the tournament for me, the better.
You're having too much fun for the Netherlands to progress, and this is nice.
Yeah, absolutely. So either result, this is one of those games that I actually wouldn't be upset either way. I would love... I'd also prefer Morocco because they don't have Van Dijk. I'm not a big Van Dijk fan. So if he goes home, then I'm quite happy. I mean, I would ask you what your predictions are, but I think you'd probably say 13-0 to Netherlands.
Nah, this is about 50-50 matches to come. I think this could be even closer than Brazil-Japan. We're talking about the number 6 in the world versus number 7 in the world currently. And they'll probably switch places with whoever wins this one. Morocco, or you can say what you want about them, but they won the Africa Cup. I agree with that? Not besides the points, but they did get it, be it 4 months later. But they still were in the final. I think they got a little bit lucky there, but that team is really good. But the thing is, this is going to be one spectacular match because we've seen Netherlands conceding every single match since November, at least once, usually from set pieces. But we also see Netherlands score always at least 2. And I think Morocco is sort of a similar team. So I'm expecting... my prediction is saying 3 versus 2 to the Netherlands, but it could easily be 2-3 as well, right? This is one of those matches that could go either way. I think this is going to be fireworks. There's going to be a tactical battle from either one of those teams because Hakimi is going to just jump forward on the right side while the Netherlands has Dumfries jumping forward on the right side. We'll probably have Van de Ven stuck on Dumfries or Hakimi just walking around with him, and it's going to be a tactical seat if Gapco, which we have to condolence, of course, as well. If Gapco is actually going to be able to run with Hakimi or just staying forward to get the ball in, I think it's going to be a lot for counter plays, and I think we're going to see lots of chances. Morocco's going to go all in, then it's going to play the counter game, I think. Wouldn't surprise me if they start 5 at the back to see what comes up. Plenty of options, plenty of time. I think Netherlands have a better midfield. Morocco midfield is good, but Netherlands I think is way better. On paper, I think Netherlands defense a little bit better. On attack, we've seen how much damage Morocco can do. And I think Saibari is one of those untapped talents, which we'll see perform at Bayern next year as well. Yeah, this could mean everything. My approach, though, is going to be, I'm going to watch the Japan versus Brazil match and I'm going to go to bed. Then I'm setting an alarm for like 2:55. Then start that match. Then watch the Germany match. Then take a nap. Then record a podcast, something like that.
That sounds good. That sounds good. I mean, the one thing I'm gonna jinx this now, but I think we're gonna see all 3 games of here won't be as poor quality as the South Africa Canada game last night. I think we've got too many teams with very good players and very good sort of attacking intent in their lineup. So I think these three tonight should hopefully be a lot more entertaining, a lot more action-packed and fun-filled.
Yeah, no, I agree. Leighton, thank you very much, my friend. We'll see tonight what happens. And, well, don't forget to buy me that coffee because we're definitely going to be needing that. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.